I love books and I love Taylor Swift, so really this video was kind of inevitable. Hi friends, my name is Katya. This is Kaat Reads A Lot. Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited about today's video. As you can tell from the title and from my really fabulous t-shirt, today's video is going to be Taylor Swift songs as book recommendations. This was very much inspired by the fact that for the past week, I literally cannot scroll on any social media. It does not matter what app I open up, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I can't go more than like 2 posts without seeing Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, and I'm not complaining. I love them. Whether or not it's a PR stunt or whether it's real, I think they're so cute. And I have Taylor Swift on the brain all the time anyway, especially considering the fact that 1989 Taylor's version is coming out at the end of the month, and I am so excited. So these recommendations aren't necessarily going to be album specific. I just went on Spotify and found a Taylor Swift playlist and scrolled through and made note every time I saw a song that reminded me of a certain book, because I know Taylor Swift songs in and out and I could like remember the lyrics that would remind me of different books, and so those are what I'm going to be talking about today. Let's get into the book recommendations. I'm so excited. I have the list over here on my phone. First one is, of course, from 1989. For this song, I picked Happy Place by Emily Henry, and the song is How You Get the Girl. Now, there are actually like quite a few Taylor Swift songs that could fit Happy Place really perfectly, but I think the lyrics of How You Get the Girl, especially on the verses, really resonate with what these characters are going through. This book follows Wynn and Harriet, who were a couple who met in college and fell in love and were like so deeply enamored with one another. However, prior to the start of the book, they end up breaking up, and we don't really know why, but they haven't told their friend group, and they're expected to go on this annual trip with their friends. And because of a situation that kind of prevents them from telling their friends that they've broken up, they end up pretending to still be together on this specific trip. It also employs a dual timeline structure, which is just like my absolute favorite thing, especially in Emily Henry books. People We Meet on Vacation also does this, but we flip back and forth between the present day and then also the past while they were falling in love, and we really get to see both where their relationship is now and like why they started to love each other in the first place, and it is so heart-wrenching. So I'll put the lyrics up here that I thought specifically really resonated with this book, especially from Harriet's perspective. Say it's been a long 6 months and you were too afraid to tell her what you want, broke your heart, I'll put it back together. And then tell her how you must have lost your mind when you left her all alone and never told her why. And then I want you for worse or for better, I would wait forever and ever. It just really fits them. And I just love this book so much. I think it's my second favorite Emily Henry at the moment, because People We Meet on Vacation will probably never be dethroned. I guess we'll see when Funny Story comes out, but I have a hard time seeing that one ever being dethroned. But anyway, I feel like it's really easy to recommend romance books for Taylor Swift songs, but she also has some that are a lot darker and definitely not romantic. So I want to take this opportunity to talk about my favorite Taylor Swift song ever, Would've, Could've, Should've, from the Midnights album. And for this, I actually have 2 different options of books that I think are a really good fit for this. Would've, Could've, Should've really emphasizes the toxicity of a specific relationship, and specifically like an age gap relationship. So for that reason, I think My Dark Vanessa is a really good fit, especially the lyrics. Now that I'm grown, I'm scared of ghosts, memories feel like weapons, and now that I know, I wish you'd left me wondering. I regret you all the time, I can't let this go, I fight with you in my sleep, the wound won't close. Like all of those really show how the character Vanessa feels in that book. This is another book which employs dual timelines. It is like my favorite literary plot device. If something has dual timelines, I'm like 80% more likely to read it. This book follows our main character Vanessa. In one timeline, she's 14, I think, and she starts having kind of an inappropriate relationship with her high school English teacher. I say kind of an inappropriate relationship, it is a very inappropriate relationship. So that's one timeline, and then the other timeline is zoomed forward, I think, to when she's in her 30s, and at this time that teacher has now been accused of misconduct by many women and girls. And so now Vanessa is really trying to kind of make sense of the fact that she really thought that she was in love with this man, and realizing that she was kind of a victim in this situation. I saw somebody talk about on Goodreads how there's really no wrong way to be a victim, and that this book really emphasizes that fact. It's so stunningly written and also so discomforting. It made me feel really like my skin was crawling because of the way that this man treated this like very young girl. Definitely a heavy book, but also so powerful and affecting if you think that you can handle it. The other one that I really think fits this song really well, and also is, like I said, powerful, affecting, is In the Dream House. This book depicts an abusive relationship. It's actually a memoir, so it's nonfiction, but it's written in a really creative way. She's talking about her life and her relationship and how her girlfriend became increasingly more and more manipulative and abusive, but instead of talking about the story from her own perspective and saying like, this happened to me in the first person. She actually tells a lot of the story from the second person. So she says, you walk through the door, you experience this. And so it's a very immersive kind of like visceral experience, especially listening to the audiobook, which is how I consumed this story. The prose in this book is just really, really stunning. And if you haven't read this, again, if you think you can handle it, it's very heavy, very powerful, but really, really worth the read. Switching gears a little bit to something a little bit happier, I want to talk about Sweet Nothing from Midnights. This song reminds me so much of In the Event This Doesn't Fall Apart by Shannon Barry, which is a poetry collection. I've been following Shannon Barry on Instagram for years because I just love the way that she writes. Even in her like Instagram captions, the way that she talks about friendship and relationships and like small moments in life. In the Event This Doesn't Fall Apart is a poetry collection that she wrote in the first year that she and her boyfriend, now fiance, were dating. And it's all about like these very small, sweet moments that made her know that she and him were hopefully gonna end up together. And that's why it's called In the Event This Doesn't Fall Apart. It's really slim, really fast to read, but also just so pleasant. It's like a warm hug. These are the lyrics that remind me of it specifically. On the way home, I wrote a poem. You say, what a mind, it happens all the time. It just really like reflects that poetry collection, and I highly recommend. Okay, sorry, it was getting a little dark. I had to go open up my windows. We have a little bit more light in here, but the next book that I'm going to talk about is Word Slut by Amanda Montell. Hi, editing Katia here to let you know that I completely forgot to talk about the song that goes with this book, but the song is The Man from Lover. Pretty self-explanatory, but I'll put the lyrics up so that you can see why I think it fits. Word Slut by Amanda Montell is a non-fiction book about linguistics and feminism, and about the way that history has kind of shaped the way that we speak and like the words that we use, and why certain words feel gendered even if they really aren't or shouldn't be, and why so many like insults that people use are based in the idea of femaleness or like girliness. It's so fascinating, and it's written in a really conversational, easy to digest manner. I'm not a huge nonfiction person. I really don't read that much nonfiction, but this I thought was really approachable and really bingeable. I read it so fast. Now let's talk about a song from Folklore, which is my favorite Taylor Swift album and one of my favorite songs. Honestly, most of the songs on that album are my favorite songs, but one of them is Illicit Affairs. I especially loved during the Eras tour when she sang like a rock version of this song. I honestly wanted it to be longer. It was too short of a snippet in the Folklore set, the way that she like fell to her knees and like thrashed her hair around. I loved it so much. But the perfect book, I think, to go with this song is Luster. This is more of a literary fiction. We follow our main character, Edie, who ends up in a relationship with a married man and then ends up living with him and his wife and their adopted daughter. So as you might be able to imagine, it is a very messy situation that they find themselves in. This is another book that I just love the way that it's written. I remember there's one line in particular where the main character was talking about her history of making gods out of feeble men, and that line just like really stuck with me. I feel like this whole song in general, just like the concept of having an illicit affair, really fits this book. The lyrics that I picked specifically were, that's the thing about illicit affairs and clandestine meetings and longing stares. Leave the perfume on the shelf that you picked out just for him, so you leave no trace behind, like you don't even exist. And like I said, it's messy, it's dramatic, and it's really good. And so I recommend if it sounds like something that you're interested in. Now we have to talk about my man, John Green. Unrelated, kind of, but I just ordered a Pizza Miss shirt and I'm so excited for it to come in the mail. The book that I want to recommend next is Turtles All the Way Down, and the song that I want to pair it with is Labyrinth from the Midnights album. This is a YA contemporary, and it's a story about friendship and resilience. We follow our main character, Asa Holmes, who is dealing with OCD and kind of the ever-tightening spiral of her own thoughts. And throughout the book, Asa and her friends are trying to solve the disappearance of this billionaire who, if they track them down, there's like a monetary prize. But honestly, like the plot was not the thing that propelled me through the story. It was how relatable I thought that Asa was, especially just in the way that she like spoke about how her mind worked and how her anxieties like got in the way of everyday life. I actually cried while I read this book because I really felt so connected to Asa. I felt like she was in my head, and a lot of the times like expressing things that I have experienced but didn't really know how to express. The lyrics from Labyrinth that I think specifically really fit this book are, I thought the plane was going down, how'd you turn it right around? It only feels this raw raw right now, lost in the labyrinth of my mind. The story is just so powerful. I'm so excited for whenever the movie version actually comes out because I know that it's been announced for a little while. We're gonna stick with a little bit more of a sad Taylor Swift song vibe for these next few because they just fit so well. So first I want to talk about The Archer. This song is another one that I find like very, very relatable and that has made me cry in the past. I love it. It's on the album Lover, track 5, and the book that I think really, really fits this is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. The lyrics in particular that I think fit perfectly are: all of my heroes die all alone, help me hold on to you. All of my enemies started out friends, help me hold on to you. I know I haven't said what the book is about yet, but it's just so perfect. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow follows Sadie and Sam, who are best friends and video game developers, designers, creators, and the up and down tumultuous relationship that they have over the course of decades. This book is so beautifully written, so powerful. The way that Sam and Sadie's relationship evolves and the way that they grow together and apart just really, really reflects the lyrics in The Archer, specifically all of my enemies started out friends, help me hold on to you, because these are very, very ambitious characters and sometimes their business relationship gets in the way of their friendship, but because video games are what they are both so passionate about, they always kind of find their way back to each other because they both care so much about the things that they create. So all of the repeated help me hold on to you, who could ever leave me darling but who could stay, I search for your dark side but what if I'm all right here, like all of those kind of repeated ideas really reflect the themes that propel you through Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Okay, one more really sad one and then we'll move on to something a little bit more uplifting, I promise. Transcendent Kingdom by Ya Jessie is the perfect book to pair with Bigger Than the Whole Sky from the Midnight's album. This book follows a neuroscientist named Gifty and she's studying reward-seeking behavior in mice. Something that she really emphasizes in her work is trying to understand suffering and understand like why humans make the decisions that they do. Her mom is depressed and suicidal and her brother died of a heroin overdose a few years ago. So she's also tackling her grief and tackling her relationship with religion because her mom is very, very religious and Gifty is in this very scientific community who tend to sometimes scoff at religion. So there's lots of different things at play, but the grief is such a big theme and religion is such a big theme that I think Bigger Than the Whole Sky really fits very well. Got a lot to live without. I'm never gonna meet what could have been, would have been, should have been you. Did some force take you because I didn't pray? It just fits perfectly, not only lyrically but also just in the emotions of the song and the way that the song kind of just knocks you over with a wave of sadness that also kind of happened in this book. Definitely super thought-provoking and gripping and beautifully written and I love it so much. Ya Jessie is one of my like absolute favorite authors. She only has 2 books out at the moment but they're both like glowing 5 stars, so if you haven't read her books yet, please do. The next book I want to talk about was one of my favorites of the year so far. This is a 5-star romance. I read it last month and it's called Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. And the Taylor Swift song that I have paired with this is Begin Again. Part of Your World follows our main character Alexis, who is a very highly successful doctor who ends up falling in love with a small town mayor slash innkeeper called Daniel. Their relationship is so wholesome and sweet and adorable and he brings her life so much like hope and light and joy, which she really needs because she is fresh out of a very emotionally abusive, manipulative relationship and that past like ex-partner casts such a dark shadow over her and it's so upsetting to read about her in this horrible situation where she's dealing with this like horrible man but she's able to begin again and find hope and light and joy with Daniel, and that's why I think Begin Again fits really, really well, especially the lyrics about the ex-boyfriend not liking it when she did certain things or not understanding her. Took a deep breath in the mirror. He didn't like it when I wore high heels, but I do. So it's not only about her learning to like let go of this old partner, but also learning to stand up to him and to stand up to all of the people in her life who tell her that she has to be a certain way, and the way that she is like learning to stand up for herself and learning to grow partially because of this new romance and also for this new romance so that it can move forward. Like, it's so stunning. I love these characters so much, and also just the feeling that I get from listening to Begin Again, like the way it's so uplifting and peaceful is also how I felt while reading Part of Your World. So if you love that song, you're probably gonna love that book as well. Next, I want to talk about Timeless. I had to do something from Speak Now Taylor's version, and Timeless I think fits with Lovely War by Julie Berry. This book is actually World War I historical fiction, but it follows two different couples through the war, but their love story is not told like by an omniscient narrator. It's actually told by Greek gods. It's a very interesting kind of literary device that it employs, but the whole book is kind of just about fated love, and it's so powerful and it made me cry. I don't always subscribe to the idea of soulmates, but the characters in this book are absolutely meant to be. I would have read your love letters every single night and prayed to God that you'd be coming home all right, and it would have been fine. We would have been timeless. Because I believe that we were supposed to find this, so even in a different life, you still would have been mine. We would have been timeless. I just think it fits the couples in this book really, really well. Okay, last but not least, this is not so much a recommend. I mean, this is always a series that I recommend. Like, I cannot fathom the thought that there are people in the world who haven't read this series and haven't loved it as much as I did, because I am such, I'm just gonna show you, I'm such a huge Hunger Games fangirl. They are my favorite books. They're my comfort books. I've read all of them so many times. Catching Fire in particular, the numbers in the teens. I've kind of lost count of how many times I've read this book, but it's at least 14 times. So if that doesn't make it clear enough, like, this is my favorite series, and the Taylor Swift song that I think fits it so perfectly. I've in fact seen a few like TikTok edits to this song, and it breaks my heart every single time in the best way. It breaks my heart in a very pleasant way. Is Peace from Folklore. Peace generally I think is really one of her most lyrically stunning works and one of her most underrated songs, but the lyrics that I think specifically fit the Hunger Games is I'm a fire and I'll keep your brittle heart warm. All these people think love's for show, but I would die for you in secret. Your integrity makes me seem small. You paint dreamscapes on the wall. It's like I'm wasting your honor. I just think that really, really fits both Katniss, Girl on Fire, and Peeta, painter, baker, extraordinaire, to a T, especially in Catching Fire and in Mockingjay, where Katniss really emphasizes Peeta's goodness and how she like doesn't feel worthy of him. If for some reason you don't know what these books are about, if you've like only heard of them and never actually heard a synopsis, these books are set in a futuristic dystopian world where children are forced to fight to the death, and we follow our main character, Katniss Everdeen, who ends up volunteering in the place of her little sister because she wants to save her. I just think the song fits almost too well. Even in the chorus where she sings, would it be enough if I could never give you peace? That is really a question for these characters over the course of these books, since they live in such like a horrible like a horrible world where there's so much like oppression and violence and war and sadness happening. Like, will they ever be able to get to a point where they will feel peaceful and not feel like in fight or flight mode? And I think by the epilogue the answer becomes yes, but it is a pervasive question throughout the series and I adore it. This is again my favorite series, and every single time I reread them there's something that like stands out to me, and I feel like I just get something out of them every single time I reread them, even if that's just comfort and spending time with these characters that I love so much. All right, that's all I've got for today. Hopefully I'll be able to do a 1989 Taylor's version specific version of this video once that comes out, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books, if there are any books that you thought of that would fit these songs, or let me know your favorite Taylor Swift song down below. And if you don't like Taylor Swift, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm shocked that you made it to the end. Let me know who your favorite musical artist is down in the comments. I would love to know. But anyway, thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope you're having the most lovely day, and I will see you in my next video.